Glocks for real work. The niggas who know what they gotta do. When you put someone down, you gotta make sure they stay down. Hit a nigga twice where his heart beat at. And once where he used to think. I never want to bring you into this game. Not even that night we was on the beach, looking at 4 stars. I don't want to have the conversation about the average. I wish you went to that school. I wish you wasn't here. I wish it was just dreams. Dreams ain't real. Niggas in the real world, buying real shots, real gas. Real niggas die.
All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. If you can't stay strapped before you die smoking. All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. Ain't no competition, no guys chosen. All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. If you can't stay strapped before you die smoking. All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. Ain't no competition, no guys chosen.
Peace, love, life, and balance. And welcome to Universoul Life Balance Universoul. I'm your host, Chief Jamal. You just watched a clip from the hit TV series that's on Stars right now. Power, I believe, is book 3, Raising Canaan, Power Raising Canaan. And what you saw was a scene where the mother, spoiler alert for some of y'all that maybe you should have seen it by now, but spoiler alert just in case those didn't see it. But in this particular scene we just watched, the main character, who is a young Canaan of the character 50 Cent played in the original series, and you have his mother, and they're going back showing how he was raised. Well, she was showing him, and it's a short scene. We can't play the whole movie or the whole, obviously for fair use purposes, going to play so much, but it is, you see her basically talking to him and preparing him to kill a man, showing him what he needs to do, getting his weaponry ready, sharpening his blade to go and end a man's life. Now, you may say, well, that ain't a street life. That's going to happen. But like I said, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it, the man he is going to kill is his own father, which he had no knowledge of. His own father. She was preparing this man to kill his own father. And you see the name of the title of the video. How to deal with the baby mama terrorist / malicious mother syndrome. How to deal with the baby mama terrorist, or the technical term for the baby mama terrorist, which I believe a brother home that some say Mr. Palm. I heard different YouTubers. I don't want to get into all that, whatever. But the technical term is the malicious mother syndrome, where basically a mother or a malicious, they call it parent now because they got to make everything PC. It was mother back in the day, but now it's parent, and that's fair. It can go both ways. But it's very rare do you have a male in the position where he can execute that syndrome. That syndrome is about doing whatever it takes to hurt the other parent, particularly through the children. And this is a subject that is near and dear to me because this is something that I have went through. I've went through myself in a divorce. Now, you see that word divorce, and some of y'all may say, well, I'm not married. What about this? It doesn't don't look at divorce in particular to marriage, but look at it as a separation. So you don't have to be technically legally married to experience this. If you have a child with someone, if you have a child with a woman, you are susceptible to this. Because even though y'all weren't married, that union is still broken. And a lot of times in these spaces, whether it be mainstream media or even the internet spaces where the women go at the men and the men go at the women, things aren't properly looked at and diagnosed for why they are. We got to understand that this is a particular thing. This is actually a syndrome and something that goes on that gets little to no attention. You can't find, you don't find TV shows talking about it. You don't find, and it's very sickening because the malicious mother syndrome, the baby mama terrorist, in trying to do more harm to the father is only doing more harm to the children. She's only creating more amity between her and her children. Her children are going to eventually grow and see that and feel that and know that, and it doesn't sow good seed, but it also harms the development and the growth between the father and those children. And I know that firsthand. Now, what you have to understand, what we're going to get into is why do women do this? And why do women do this? In particular, women, because this is something that affects 90% women. Why do they do this? What does it benefit them? And how can we as men, and how, or you as a woman, because like I said, I know this is the balance channel. This is the channel where we're just dealing with men or just dealing with women. This is the balance channel on both sides. So the small percentage that do deal with it, kind of listen in and switch it to your side if you want. But this is mainly for the brothers, for the men. All right, how we deal with this, how we disarm this, how we advance forward. Now let's get into the reasons why. Okay. Number one, I did a short video. You can go back and text. I didn't do a whole video on it, but I did a quick video. I talked about the bitter ex, why the bitter ex, why they are bitter. You got to understand, and we're going to keep it in particulars to a woman. A woman has a lot more in stake reproductively than a man. Okay, she cannot. She doesn't have as many opportunities to produce life as a man simply because when she gets pregnant, she has to carry out that. She can only carry that one life or two life if it's twins for 9 months. She cannot produce any life through that month, but what's in her stomach, and she has to safely carry it to and fro. A man, as we know, can impregnate multiple women at the same time. So she's at a huge disadvantage for that. Now I know I'm not trying to make an excuse for this. Now why would I? I just told you I went through this myself. God damn it. So I definitely ain't trying to make excuses. But I'm about being rational. I'm about getting to the reason for a thing or the purpose or seeing how a thing works, breaking it down, dissecting it, so we can put it back together, and that's how we find solutions. So you have to understand, men, that women have a lot more in stake as far as reproduction, their biological clock. These are all simple things we all know. Their eggs start to deteriorate after 30. They're not able to produce children as well as they could in the prime of their childhood, bearing years in their 20s. So even if they're young, old, or whatever, because they have so much more at stake, they're going to be naturally inclined to have more of an attachment and more pride in the reproduction naturally. Not saying that we as men don't have as much pride, not saying that we don't take as much that we don't have as much care. Of course you do. I know definitely I do with my children. I believe I have more. But the thing is that I'm talking about is instinctively. Okay? Instinctively, she is going to have a bigger attachment to what you produce with her than you will, that's, you gotta understand. She incubated your seed for 9 months, so you know she literally had your seed growing in her for 9 months. So of course there's going to be an attachment. So when you break up with her, when you break up with the woman, when we break up with these women, fellas, we gotta understand that attachment is deep. That we gotta stop. We gotta do a better job of vetting women that we get with and have children with, because we have to understand what type of psychological factors they've dealt with, Have they dealt with a man before and been in a situation before, which makes it worse? And that is and that is one of the drawbacks of dealing with a single mother or a woman who's had children before, is that she's going to have more scars and be more quick to pull the trigger versus a woman who has not. So when you look at that factor, that's one of the reasons why just instinctively they got more at stake biologically as women. Another thing is, man, you got to understand, it's all about elevation and status as well, and attention. You got to understand that she had to have some type of pride in you, or have of some type of respect or some type of honor or love or lust, whatever it may be. She had some things for you, not just one emotional feeling, but multiple emotions and feelings, a lot of emotional investment. She had a lot of emotional investment. And with that emotional investment, especially if she displayed that emotional investment, not just to you, but publicly, whether it be social media or just telling people around her, it is when that relationship is over with, right? And she's looking at the children you produce and looking at you, okay? She is going to want you to feel the pain, okay? Because she feel like, I gave you my body, I had this baby for you, and you're not gonna be with me. I still want you. First of all, let's get this out the way. If you have a baby mama terrorist, okay, it's without it. I don't care if she's moved on, got married, had other kids, or whatever. She's still being that, and women will tell you this. She obviously still has feeling for that man. And if you're a man dealing with a woman who's a baby, first of all, if you're a man dealing with a woman who keeps the children away from the father, you a sucker ass nigga, man. You a weak ass dude, and that is a simp. If you're sitting there watching another man just trying to see his children, be in his children's life, and you want to sit up there and try to play hero because you thirsty for the pussy, you the worst type of simp there is. You're a family record. You're a destroyer. You not. I don't care if you how good you play stepdaddy, even if you ride the real dad's dick or whatever you may do. If you do that as a man, you are not a man. Okay, you are not a man. All right, you that's soft. That's weak. You know, you shouldn't even deal with the woman who would do that to a man. And for one thing, stupid, she's going to do it to you. You know, a woman that does that is going to do it over and over again. There's not going to be just one guy. She's going to. That is deep behavioral problems. There's deep psychological problems. All right. So I know I keep saying a lot, but let's talk. Let's go into this. The malicious. I want to pull up something from UnitedFathers.org. We're going to go into talking about the. We're going to go into talking about this sent the baby mama terrorists, but what's really called the baby mama the I'm sorry, the malicious mother syndrome, or what they call now the malicious parent syndrome. So let's go. You guys see it pulled up there. All right, we're going to get right into it. So let's go here. Malicious mother syndrome, another syndrome, the divorce related, and I already broke down don't get caught up with that divorce word. Basically, any relationship that's broken is, you can consider that divorce in the context of this conversation. Malicious mother syndrome has been identified in cases in which mothers not only try to alienate their children from their fathers, but are committed to a broadly based campaign to hurt the father directly. The diagnostic criteria for this syndrome are listed in Figure 1. So to go to examples. So let's go down to this. Now, this is something. Check this out. Some examples of the more extreme behavior observed in such individuals include the father making one's children sleep in the car to prove their father has bankrupted them. Now, actually, in my situation, my ex actually would like make my kids look dusty and bad, even though I'm buying them new clothes, whatever. She turned down child support, right? She actually gave up. She turned it down, didn't take child support, and then later complained about me not paying child support when she voluntarily gave up child support. So sabotage, things of that nature. Burning down the house. I went through that, property being destroyed. Making false allegations. I have to beat various false allegations, even restraining orders. Manipulating other people to harass the ex-husband. Yep, been through that. Spreading vicious lies about the ex-husband. Yep, definitely vicious lies. Not lies that lies that were very damaging. Lied in court, even admitted to lying. Trying to get ex-husband fired from job and driving automobile. So these are just examples. Women with this syndrome interfere chronically with visitation. So they're going to interfere. These women with this syndrome interfere highly with visitation, with things of this nature, with you seeing your kid. These women are skillful liars, highly manipulative, quite adept at recruiting others to participate in the campaign against the father. As is true of the parental alienation syndrome, there's absolutely necessary research on this abnormality. I wonder why that is. Now, this is obviously the things. Just there are many diagnoses, right? Mental health diagnoses that are way less harmless than this, and that have way less factors in this and indicators in this that have chronic that are actual, you know, abnormalities that are classified by mental health and are classified as that, where you can get treated or diagnosed. This isn't really, even though this is a syndrome and is recognized, it's not really officially diagnosed, because if it was officially diagnosed, fathers would be able to use this. They'd be able to use this in the courtroom, and you would see a lot of cases go differently. That's why they don't want to research this. They don't want to research this, because if they do, they'll see that this is a mental illness. Women that have this, because they're gonna notice the factors of these women, the past of these women, the parental pasts of these women, the sexual. They're gonna have to get into the sexual behavior of these women. All of these different things are gonna have to get into. They'll have to make women accountable. We know the society has a hard time making women accountable. Sorry, sisters, but that's just how it is. And I'm not even sorry. That's just how it is. Society. Now, like I said, women that buck against the system and want to be traditional, want masculine men, they get it the worst, because they gotta watch. They can easily alleviate themselves, but they don't want to. They don't want to have that. They want to be accountable. They want to be good women. They don't want that. So it's very miserable for those type of women, and we love and salute those women. The very few of you that are. Individuals with these syndromes may be willing to able to lie in court in fully convincing way. Sometimes their manipulative skills are so well developed that they are able to influence others to provide false testimony. Exactly. I went through all of this in many cases. And I'm going to put up videos to help you brothers walk through this, how to defeat this and disarm this and deal with this. But this is something that affects men regularly and consistently. Now, the slang term is the baby mama terrorist, which is a manosphere term, right? All right. So that term is that term is very, very fitting because it is a terror. You are terrorized when you, as a man, are not able to connect with your seed. Your seed is you. Your seed is a living embodiment of what you are, what you were, and what you plan to be. So when that is taken from you, when a woman uses basically you, a piece of you uses yourself to torment you, that is a very serious thing that the court systems don't recognize, that it's allowed, and it's just very too loose. If we, being a community worker with the Black Panther Party, working in the community, I can tell you firsthand a lot of domestic violence situations where women were harmed and women were killed. A lot of domestic violence situations could have been prevented, would have never happened had that man been put through so much psychological trauma by being able to be manipulated with his children. A lot of domestic violent acts, rapes, murders, I'm telling you firsthand, as a man who has worked in the community for years, a man who has stood by the black woman's side, who has risked jail, risked freedom, risked my life to protect people I don't even know, that, trust me, a lot of these stem from women being able to manipulate, especially women who don't have much anyway, that's in the ghetto where I'm from. Black women that don't have much. If you don't have much, to else to cling on is gonna be work because you're gonna look, all I got is my kids. You're gonna really cling to them children. But I'm telling you now, sisters, don't do that. That is the worst thing you can do for your child and for your mental health. And you won't attract a healthy mate that way. Any man that will attract to you while you are in that state, that is a desperate man. That is a deceiver. It's eventually his car is gonna get shown that he wasn't there for you. He was there to fulfill a physical need. He may even go a few years like that, but eventually it will fall apart because it was out of thirst. It was out of simping. It was not out of really caring about you. If a man truly cares about you and he sees that you're doing it to another man, he's not going to deal with you till you address that situation. Okay? So that's the thing. Now the next thing I want to talk about, we want to move to, is what do they get out of this? How do they benefit? Okay? What do they benefit? But first before we talk about how they benefit, I want to get into a couple more reasons very quickly. All right. Now we just talked about the basically their their instinct, what they do. They want to basically assassinate the character. Like I said, I didn't elaborate, but I'm gonna go back to it. The status when you have, especially if you married. So when a woman loses, a woman is judged, just like, and it's vice versa. A woman is very often judged. A woman is judged on how she can keep a man. So when a woman loses a man, that's a big blow. It's not like when a man loses a woman. It's just society. That's just how it is. Hate it or love it, whatever. Men and women are different. We're not the same. But when a woman loses a man, when a man leaves a woman, or a man is no longer with a woman, or cheats on a woman, whatever it may be, if she feel the man was at fault and breaking the relationship apart, or he left her, okay, she's gonna want revenge because it put a dent in her social status. She has been shown as a failure. You have shown her as an open failure. And when like one thing I would say in my divorce proceedings, right? I would have to remind the court because I was in a state getting divorced where it was very heavily favored. You look up their rulings, it's like 97% towards women. It's like one of the worst states for men in the country statistically. And I had to fight, appeal, and been fighting for years because that's what I was up against. But if you keep fighting, fellas, you can come out if you know what you're doing. But it's not easy. It's gonna be a painful road. But the thing is, I said, I'm divorcing her. And I could see it in her face. She would look like, ugh. And it's like, yeah, I'm divorcing. I'm the one that's trying to get out of this. I'm the one that's going through the abuse. I'm the one that can't take it no more. And society don't care. But you just see what happened with Ben Affleck. Society don't want to hear about a man going through any abuse in the marriage. They it's like, man up, just take it, or you got to be there for her. We expect this to take everything and give. We expect it just to give everything, but get nothing. Blah blah. Not all women, of course. You know, you got some decent ones out there, but that's the general in the society that's been built to be the opposite of everything of the Most High. It's perverted. You know, the order of the Most High is the father, the son, okay, the man, the woman, the child. They got it flipped upside down. What the scriptures say, your children are your rulers. We look at Twitter and say the children are the rulers, right? That's why it's important that we reach the youth. Because you go on Twitter and TikTok and these sites, they ran by the children. So that scripture's come to pass. And I'm going to a whole other thing. But we being ruled by our children. Okay? Our parents, and then the women. The women is ruling. So the children don't got the adults. So we keep saying the women ruling, but really the children is determining the pop culture, and the women is taking over after that. Then the man is last, and then God and Yahweh there's nowhere in there. That's the order. It's totally perverted. So that regardless, family, we got to understand what we up against and how this is a big fight towards our structure, our family structure. She is going to always, brothers, she is going to always fight for her reputation. That's a rule. We talk about the rules of power, defend your reputation to the bitter end. That with them is natural with a woman, okay, with most women. They don't want that black mark, okay? So she wants to hurt you. She wants to keep that child from you. because it shows that if I keep the child from him, he's not an addict. It's so much things can go with that. She can paint the picture. She can say you're not an adequate father. You're not a provider. Because she can control the information from that because she has the sole custody, and you out the picture. She can manipulate, tell the kids lies, all types of stuff. That's why, going through what I went through was good. Going through classes, meeting up with other brothers, going through the support, because it's not that much support for men, and a lot of support that's out here on the internet, unfortunately, is very toxic. It's not very. It just makes men more bitter, and doesn't really, or makes them, not face their issues. Listen, man, it's okay as a man. Your children, when your seed is being ripped from you, or you feel you're gonna go through mental issues, it's gonna do things to you. It's gonna affect you. As men, we gotta understand that. Now, I'm not with being soft and saying we gotta do this and sit out. I wasn't with Simone Biles and athletes. I don't want to sit out because of mental health. I'm not trying to go that far. How the woke people go with it. But mental health is important. Okay, and we do got to take care of mental health. Everything that these people say, they say a lot of crazy stuff, is not a bad thing. So we got to understand the mental toll that it takes on us, the spiritual toll, the physical toll, the financial, battling to see your children. So she knows that. So she can desecrate you and desecrate your character by keeping those children from you. She can control the narrative. That's why you have to openly fight for your children. You have to keep all your documents. And a lot of times we say, well, we don't want the kids to know. We don't want the kids to know. No, keep everything. Be able to show them, because they're lying. Look, this is what I did. I fought for you. I did this. I filed this. I went through this. I spent this much on lawyers. Never build, maintain your legacy. Okay, that's gonna help maintain your sanity. Maintain your legacy, because the negative information gets so bad and they can get allies. And what's talked about in that article we was reading too, those are also characteristics of the Jezebel spirit, which a lot of women, unfortunately, in today's society are under the Jezebel spirit. Understand that, okay? Also, all right, we're gonna get right into this. The benefit, okay? Everything we talk about this a lot on this channel, all right? Energy is transferable, all right? Your energy is very important, and how you use your energy, whether it's sexual, mentally, physically, spiritual, is very important. When you are dealing with a baby mama terrorist, okay, she is a draining life force, and your misery is the engine that feeds her. That's why you have to maintain your sanity. You have to be happy. You have to keep a smile on your face. Stay doing your hobby. Keep yourself up, because it's only so much you can control. Okay, you can't control everything. Don't worry about the stuff you can't control. You'll drive yourself crazy. Only worry about what you can control. Okay, and when you do that, when you get in that mindset, you say, I can control filing for this. I can do this, and you're diligent. Make it a task. You get a sense of accomplishment. You're going to start to build confidence, because you know you're doing everything you can to see your children and fight for your children. You're doing everything you can. And that's what I do. I do everything I can. And sometimes you'll try to go overboard and think I ain't doing enough. Don't worry about what you can't control. Because just like a praying mantis, when a praying mantis mates, she bites the head off of the male, right? Now the reason she does that, right? Because women, was what they do. They praying mantis. The reason they do that is because the praying mantis actually takes those. She's able to produce way more eggs, and she's able to store the sperm and keep producing. She actually gets a lot stronger by eating the male. The same thing happens to us. Now you may say, Chief Jamal, Chief, what are you talking about? If I get a chick pregnant and she just keep the baby from me, she might got the baby, but she ain't getting nothing. No, man, your seed is everything. You should know, man. I talk about semen retention all the time. Okay? That's it. That nut nigga you shooting on a porno magazine? That nut you shooting on? I ain't gonna say it, man. I'm old school magazine on your phone, whatever. That is so much life. That's why we talk about retaining it, managing it, not just shooting it out for masturbate, not just shooting out at any woman, not just shooting it out randomly. Even if you got a woman, keeping it for yourself. It's a life force. So she literally got your life forces walking around, man. She still got your energy. Them kids is the best of your energy. So she got the best of your energy. She keeping it from you as much as possible. And you need that energy too. You ever notice, men, when you get your children, you feel a boost with your children? You feel like empowered. And it ain't just because you seeing your children. You actually being reunited with the best of your seed, with the best that made it. Out of millions of sperm cells, only one made it. Each time it was shot into her. And you got that one. That one is out and it's living. It's alive. And it's you. It embodies you. It embodies the best of her, what you saw good of her even. It's a total embodiment of power and unification. And she's keeping that from you. That's why it's important to fight to see your children and to fight against baby mama terrorism or malicious mother syndrome. You want as much time as possible. You want to be involved as much as possible. We got technology. You want to Skype. You want to keep that energy. She wants to drain that energy. She benefits because she keeps that energy. All right? And you want her to do well. We're not bitter men here. You want your exes to do well. You want them to do well mentally. You don't want to see them doing. You get a lot of guys in here who are bitter and hurt. Nah, man, we healed human beings. We want them to get the help they need as women to be better mothers and to for our children. And we want to be supportive. But we're not gonna take no mess either. We want our babies. Okay? That's how we approach things over here. All right? So I'm gonna do a part 2 to this video. And for that being said, I'm gonna finish up in part 2, but for now, peace, love, life, and balance, family.